the very same question. Duke's head coach Mike Krzyzewski and the Bulls' Michael Jordan no longer have to hear that question. When are you going to win the big one? The year not only gave us 2 new champions, but also a brand new batch of young talent who put their own individual stamps on the game. Here's a look at some of the Showtime moments of 1991.
Showtime!
I can book your head.
Yo, MCs!
I can book your head. I can book your head.
Yo, MCs!
I can book your head. I can book your head.
Yo, MCs!
I can book your head. I can book your head.
Yo, MCs!
I can book your head.
Midcourt, fires it up, and it goes! Just in with the rebound. Anderson, high off the glass.
Yo, MCs!
From midcourt, fires it up, and it goes!
Yo, MCs! Yo, MCs! Yo, MCs!
There he is. That's why you keep...
Yo, MCs!
Those were some of the great plays of 1991, but what about the great teams of 91? Few will argue that the Duke Blue Devils' rise to the national championship qualifies them as college basketball's team of the year. Their upset over UNLV, a team some thought was one of the greatest ever, ranks as one of college basketball's greatest upsets. But it also brings to mind another upset 25 years earlier in the height of the civil rights movement when Don Haskins took his Texas Western Miners to a national title over Adolph Rupp's Kentucky Wildcats.
Press really beats it up as being, let's be realistic, the blacks versus the whites.
They were calling us all kind of things, criminals. You know, we were criminals.
Coach put his best 5 players out there, and they just happened to be black.
Where could they go? How many places there wasn't a black player in the Southwest Conference, there wasn't a black player in the Southeastern Conference?
The only thing we had to prove by beating Rupp was we had the better team. We knew that we had the better team, but we had to prove it to everybody else.
Adolph was always very bitter with that loss. You know, I mean, he had not been to the Final Four since 1958. He was 64, 65 years old.
I think it played on him so much that he wanted to win that particular championship because he didn't know if he was ever going to get back that far again.
Coach Rupp has said that, you know, I was from some presidents, and Bobby Joe was an escaped convict, and Willie Cager was this, and Neville was that, and we were just banditos from down in Texas. We were bad guys. My response to that was to say, well, after you call us all those names, and you can always say we were well coached and we were mannerable, and at the end of the entire phrase, just say national champs.
Still to come on the Best of SportsCenter, a frightening tale of how one athlete was forced to protect his family from a man stalking his wife. But up next, the lighter side of an NFL coach's press conference.
He's got a high medial hamstring tear strain type thing.
Considering the fact that you've got your best player out, you think that'll have any impact at all in this game?
No impact. We go to the PTPers, baby. You know, Rolls Royces, the guys that fly up in the sky, Skywalkers. We got all these guys. GM, little Flake and Blake, little Shake and Bakes, Flake and Bakes. You got them all. We do it all. Thing. We're ready. Tell night, nervous time, baby. Vital is ready.
If you think this is NFL coaches have to go through
T.O., baby. Get it, T.O.
You ready? Everybody ready? Testing, testing. The doctor's trochanter. You know what that is?
I don't know, and it's a
shoulder. Jenkins has ribs.
He's got a high medial hamstring tear strain type thing.
And I doubt if he'll play this week.
I don't know his status yet.
Well, I don't know until I know for sure how long he's going to be out, you know, and I don't know that right now, for sure.
There's nobody in the National Football League that our team respects more than the San Francisco 49ers.
We're still a long ways from Buffalo.
We have a lot of respect for the Bengals, and I think they have a pretty good football team.
They're as well put together as any team in the National Football League.
What am I going to say? That I like the Vikings? I don't like the Vikings.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
I like Jim Harbaugh. Does he do everything right? No. Does he do a lot of things right? Yeah. Does he have a lot of guts? Yeah.
Oh, I think so.
This guy's got a bazooka in his back pocket and he goes, you know. This is infantry stuff. Patton would have been proud of him. Schwarzkopf would have loved him. This is America. He might be America's quarterback. I don't know.
I think that about sums it up.
Gentlemen, let me tell you this. This team does not like to lose. It's not the same Detroit Lions that lose and don't care.
As someone said once, winning conquers all.
Yes, I remember saying something about that.
There's such a fine line between winning and losing in this league.
We very easily could be 5-4.
The records don't really mean anything.
And that's the bottom line.
We just continue to make mistakes, shoot ourselves in the foot.
Literally shot ourselves in the foot.
I don't know if there's any such thing as luck in this business or not.
If we are lucky, hey, I don't know. I'll take it.
It isn't just luck.
If we get breaks, hey, I'll take it.
I don't believe in luck.
You can't win on luck all the time. You got to have your share, and you make some of your luck.
Defensively, we played extremely hard.
Our guys, I thought, played very, very hard.
The effort that they gave was great. That's a positive.
A lot of people had to make plays, and it just a credit to a lot of folks that wouldn't surrender, wouldn't give up.
There's people grabbing and ripping and pulling, you know what I mean, and clawing to try to get that ball out.
What was your thinking on that 4th and 2 call in the second quarter?
I was going to ask you the same question, to tell you the truth.
My thinking was that I was going to try to make a first down.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I thought it gave me a good chance to make a first down. That's what my thinking was.
Well, we're not necessarily looking for fault all the time, Myron. I know you are.
I'm not just flipping coins. I mean, I do put some thought into it beforehand.
God, I tell you guys are absolutely unbelievable.
Is this your best coaching season?
No. It's not important. Next.
That's an honest answer.
You're not going to get me to comment on something that I haven't heard and haven't talked about. I mean, that's not fair. Don't ask it again.
I haven't even thought about it. It doesn't matter.
Do you anticipate any other...
Damn, 12:30.
Any personnel that
And there's still a lot more Best of SportsCenter coming your way, including the wackiest moments of 1991 revisited. The human drama of a baseball umpire as he fights to come back from a near-fatal shooting. We'll show some examples of how things don't always go the way they're supposed to here at ESPN. And up next, a football player who fights not only to make the team, but to protect his wife from a terrorizing threat.
As we bring you here on SportsCenter generally focus on the field, in the locker room, in the front office. More and more, though, we find ourselves reporting stories about athletes and their troubles with the law. But it seems you never hear the other side of the story, when sports figures and their families become the victims of crime. And maybe that's because in our society, generally, we regard athletes as superhuman, unafraid, invulnerable. But as we found out earlier this year, nothing could be further from the truth. At 6'6", 245 pounds, Greg Beatty generally moves through life without much fear. In fact, the underlying precept of his very occupation is to physically dominate, intimidate, or lose. But when it comes to protecting his wife against a real-life nightmare, he is small, he is powerless, and he is very scared.
When you are a big guy, you think that you can defend yourself, you think that you can defend your family, and it's a scary realization to think that that's really not true.
It all started 9 years ago, before Greg and Kathleen Beatty even knew each other. A man later identified as a former high school classmate of Kathleen's, named Larry Stagner, began to harass her. At first it was just phone calls, but that soon changed. As a matter of fact, before too long, a pattern developed. Restraining orders would be issued, but Stagner would just go right out and break them. He'd follow Kathleen, get arrested, thrown in jail, and then released, and before too long, the whole thing would start all over again. Until finally, in January of 1990, Stagner was arrested again, but this time, it was different. It was different because this time when Stagner was picked up, he had 140 rounds of ammunition and a semi-automatic weapon. Immediately, there was a sense of relief. Greg and Kathleen were married. Once again, Larry Stagner went to jail, but only briefly.
The night we got back from our honeymoon, the police called and said that he was just let out of prison.
I had to go. I mean, the next day I turned around and left for minicamp out here in Miami.
You know, he was checking in with me every day, but the bottom line is, when you're playing football, you know, you're fighting for your job, and you can't let outside distractions interfere, or you're going to get cut.
Even in a situation as grave as this?
Absolutely.
I've always been a person that has wanted to put my family first, and in this situation, I felt that I had put football first, or my career, my job, and that really, so I had a lot of guilt.
2 days later, I got a call from Larry's probation officer saying that he's missing. He's given us a phony address, and be on the lookout because he had no doubt that he would be back on my doorstep.
Maybe I didn't think it was going to happen again. Maybe I thought it was all going to go away, or maybe I was, just total wishful thinking.
And so for the next 2 days, Kathleen Beatty lived as a prisoner in her own house. And then came May 17th.
I walked into my house at about 4:30 in the afternoon, and I was listening to my answering machine, and I turned around and he was standing behind me with a knife.
With Greg some 3,000 miles away, Larry Stagner had come, he said, to take Kathleen away to the mountains. She tried to talk him out of it, and then the phone rang. Stagner let her answer it to avoid suspicion.
And it was my mother, and she would ask me a question, and I would answer something completely different. So she figured out that something was wrong.
Finally, I said, "Is Larry there?" And she said, "Uh-huh." And with that, this cold fear just went all through me.
So the Gallaghers called the Menlo Park Police Station, which was located just 2 blocks away from Kathleen.
The phone rang again, and he wasn't going to let me answer it. And finally he did, and it was police dispatch.
Hi, this is Terry calling from the police department. Yes. Does he have any weapons? Yes. What does he have? Is it a gun? A knife? Yes.
Within minutes, the house was surrounded by police. But Stagner was starting to make his move.
And he tied up my hands, and took me out the side garage door, and as we were going out into the driveway, he said, "Now don't run and don't scream," and this is why, and he pulled out a gun.
In what those who were there described as like something from a movie, as soon as Kathleen and Stagner got out to the car, the police appeared. Kathleen was able to get away safely. Stagner then turned the gun on himself, kept the police at bay for the next 11 hours before giving up. At the sentencing, Kathleen made an emotional appeal for a stiff penalty.
So when I would hear noises in the middle of the night, I would slide out of my bed and go on the floor and crawl through the house, looking out the window, thinking that he was out there somewhere.
She told the judge that 4 times before Stagner had been jailed. 4 times he had come back. She felt sure this would be no different.
And unless they decide to just throw away the key and keep him in jail, we know he'll be back.
For now, the nightmare is over. Larry Stagner got 8 years in prison, but he's eligible for parole in just 2. And even if, in fact, Greg and Kathleen have actually seen the last of Stagner, in a certain sense, he'll always be with them. Every time they have to spend a night apart, every time they hear an unexplained noise in the middle of the night, every night, every day, for the rest of their lives. An update on this story since we originally brought it to you. 2 more states, Connecticut and Florida, have been added to California as those which now consider stalking a felony.
A visit from the boys of summer. Where's that hot stove league when you need it? Well, this was a year with another rash of no-hitters, as well as a couple of last-place teams ending up in a World Series for the annals. In between were those incredible catches and inexplicable incidents that always seem to rise from the diamond. And if you missed any of it here on SportsCenter, or just want to be reminded, we've got it for you now, including some inspirational words from seasons past. Okay, curveball, down and away.
Griffey going back. Looks like he's got this one timed.
Left center field. Griffey makes a diving catch.
Bonilla is running on the payoff pitch. Bonds with a drive. Deep right field. Go ball. It's gone. And the Pirates winning in the bottom of the 11th inning.
And the National League pennant belongs to the Atlanta Braves for 1991. A high drive into left center. Puckett going back at the wall, leaps in the air and makes the catch. And the 2-1 pitch to the Minnesota center fielder is driven to deep left center field. Back goes Keith Mitchell. It is gone. Home run, Puckett.
Baseball's October stage. His sport is theater, deeply rooted in history. With all respect to some of the great World Series of our time, You know, the Dodgers winning in 55, or the Pirates in 60, or the Mets in 69. The two greatest World Series of the last 50 years may well have been 1975 and 1991. They were sixth-night dramas, 16 years apart. Carlton Fisk, the chiseled patrician, and Kirby Puckett, heroic everyman. The 1975 and 91 World Series were kindred spirits in a material world. Each had 4 games decided in the final at bat, and neither the Red Sox or Braves really thought they lost. There were kids seemingly entered at birth at Cooperstown, Fred Lynn and Steve Avery, and scruffy, unexpected heroes, Bernie Carbo and Mark Lemke. There were magnificent warriors who elevated their minds above their bodies, El Tiante and St. Jack, as they like to call him in his hometown. Each had its controversy. There was Ed Armbrister's bunt, and Kent Herbeck moving Ronnie Gant as if he were Herbie's favorite recliner. Players became kids. Pete Rose told Carbo, "This is fun." And Lonnie Smith shook the hand of the man he ran over as if it were the 15th round of a heavyweight title bout. These 7 games in October were baseball as it ought to be, pure entertainment. 1975 was the perfect series for its time. Baseball was in the gray ages, a poor TV cousin to football. That series was when television first really understood baseball, and with 6 to 8 Hall of Famers, it was played on a higher ground and returned the game to a Joe D kind of glamour. 3 months before the Messersmith decision made players dukes and owners kings. But 1991 will also go down as the perfect series for its time. Baseball was dangerously becoming perceived as a mercenary territory. And here are a bunch of last-to-first park rats who proved players really do give a damn. You can argue that the 1912 series was greater, or maybe 24 or 34, and certainly 1975. But a generation from now, we may appreciate that no World Series ever had a more magnificent moment under pressure than Jack Morris's 7th game.
Still to come, we'll hear from the sports voices of the year.
I'll be having a fling with a pretty young thing till early morning.
An American held hostage in Lebanon gets a chance to watch his favorite team in the Super Bowl. And when we return, a cartoonist's look at the year in sports, 1991.
George Foreman. And Jimmy, I Love New York Connors. And Jim, do I have to wear a uniform Palmer? Well, he tried. So did Bjorn, get me a new racket, Borg. Some guys swore this year was their last, right, AJ? But the geezer who really got it done in 91, Nolan Ryan. Nancy Lopez wasn't 40-something when she won the Sara Lee Open. She was pregnant. 1991 was also a year for unruly fans. They really gave it to Jose in New York. But Charles Barkley gave it back in Philadelphia. And it wasn't all fun and games in 91. We're all still reeling from the impact of Magic's story. And Mike Tyson's had nothing but trouble since he ticked off Razor Ruddock at a press conference. Not to mention the blistering reports about his promoter, the Don of Democracy. 1991 broke a record for baseball managers losing their jobs, 13 in one season. But most of all, this year was the making of the millionaires. Last year's deal with Roger Clemens looked outrageous, till the Rocket signed with the Canadian Football League, and Bobby Bonilla signed with the Mets. At least these players are old enough to drive their own luxury cars. Wait till next year, Miss Capriati. But in 1991, no other team charmed me like the Braves in Atlanta, and no image was richer than Jane and Ted doing the tomahawk chop.
It's a time to crown new champions, a time to cheer the underdog, to applaud.
I'm Robin Roberts. With this being the holiday season, joyous voices fill the air in anticipation. These past months, we often couldn't wait to hear what sports voice would sound off next. It seemed every week a different issue was brought to light.
Man, this is what it's all about. I mean, people are getting snot knocked out of them out there. This is a good football game.
Did I go to jail for 4 years? Yes. Was I in the numbers business? Yes.
National championship, baby. We are #1. Home rule that, baby. Yeah!
Do I know John Gotti? No. Do I know the Cavalcanti family? No. Do I know Joe Pagano who says I'm with us? No.
Just something you can't buy in that class, and you don't got none of that.
You're sweet. I'm gonna make sure you kiss me good with those big lips.
Yeah, I shake his hand. I got a lot of respect for him. We're good friends, but I don't think I can ever kiss him.
Oh, man, I can't wait till the 28th. I'm gonna make you my girlfriend.
To be involved with maybe 20,000 or so ladies consume as much of my time as my whole basketball career.
Why do you bring it up? Because some other jerk brought it up that has nothing substantial? You're wrong. But then shut up.
When you come out with something about me resigning, just say Coach Dye's getting fired. Because that's what it's going to take to get me out of here.
That microphone out of my face before I break it.
All 47 players. And coach is completely quit.
Be a man. Be a man. Ain't gonna get out of here. Got about that much sense as a bunch of kid who's just born.
Rumor.
I do know one thing. I am the manager, and I'm going to run this team. And people that aren't happy with that can go play somewhere else. I can't help it.
I'll be having a fling with a pretty young thing till early morning.
So you can sing as well as you can fight?
Absolutely. Stand tall, stand proud.
It is with a heavy heart that I have come here today to announce my immediate retirement of the National Football League.
Hey, I don't want people to feel sorry for me. I've had a great career, and I wanted to find for myself, and I did that tonight.
First thing I thought about when I was in the hospital was just making sure that Dalton was fine, you know, because I think that would be a devastating feeling, or I don't know how I could handle if something would happen to him because of me.
The point is, if you can live, you can dream. I came within inches of becoming heavyweight champ of the world. The only thing that stopped me was that fantastic jaw of that great champion, Evander Holyfield. They said we can't do it! We did it! We did it!
We were lucky to win it, so now take the luck. I'm tired of the skill.
I do the Deion Sanders high step, and we're in the end zone working.
Yes! Yes! What's up?
You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out why.
In January, there was much debate about whether Super Bowl 25 should be played. But in Robert Polhill's mind, there was no question the game should go on, and he did have his reasons, both political and personal. Few looked forward to Super Bowl 21 more than Robert Polhill. As a New York native, his Giants were finally in the big game. And as a university professor in Beirut, he even assigned his students to cheer New York to a championship.
We had invited friends to come and watch the Super Bowl with us, and for him to just be taken away less than 24 hours before was a real tragedy for me.
With 3 of his fellow professors, Polhill was kidnapped by men posing as Lebanese policemen. Now a hostage, he wouldn't learn of the Giants' victory until 18 months later while watching an Australian television program. Polhill spent 3 years and 4 months in captivity. He was released last April. When he returned home a hero. Soon after that, though, throat cancer forced surgeons to remove his larynx. And now, even though he struggles to speak, he has no trouble once again cheering his Giants. But there was talk of stopping the game given the war in the Persian Gulf. But in Polhill's mind, canceling Super Bowl 25 would be much worse than playing it. Not only is Polhill certain of the propriety of playing the game, he's just as certain of its outcome.
We have a champagne bottle cooling in the refrigerator. That's when we're going to celebrate. We will celebrate the Giants' victory.
Both of them?
Both of them.
But for Robert and Ferrio Polhill, Super Bowl 25 will be but a brief escape from the reality of life. The reality that two of the professors with whom he was kidnapped, Alan Steen and Jesse Jonathan Turner, are still hostages. This past Thursday, the No Greater Love Foundation sponsored a service commemorating the 4-year anniversary of the kidnappings.
Time. The best things come to those who wait. Wait for what? For Alan or the others to be beaten again or get sick again. Another anniversary, another birthday, another birth, another death.
There's not a day that goes by that you don't think of them, I would imagine.
Terry Anderson. Thomas Sutherland.
When the Giants and the Bills take the field for Super Bowl 25, 11 men will remain hostage in Beirut. Thomas Sutherland and Alan Steen and all the U.S. hostages are home now, and that includes Terry Anderson. He was the last one released, and one would guess he looks forward to the next Super Bowl the way Robert Polhill looked forward to the last. You see, Terry Anderson's a fan of the Buffalo Bills.
What were the most memorable moments of 1991? Well, we'll take a look coming up a bit later on the Best of SportsCenter. But up next, let's get wacky as we look back at some of the craziest sports moments of 1991.
It was a time to crown new champions, to applaud those who rose above the crowd. It was a year to remember.
You'll find that the statement, nobody's worth that much money. If you start when baseball started, you can hear somebody say, $1 million a year, nobody's worth that much money. And so now we're up to $5 million. Nobody's worth that much money. So I think that if you look at history, you will find that perhaps 20 years from now, so it's $100 million for 2 years, nobody's worth that much money.
Well, hey, $100 million a year? Worth it or not, it is a lot of money. Who knows how much athletes will earn in 20 years? But one thing's for sure, as you watch our wacky plays of the year, and Bill, I think you'll agree with this, these athletes aren't even worth $100 a year. Roll 'em, boys.
He could go all the way.
And he'll score.
Not! Allow him to kick me and punch me. Look, it's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's bottom of the ninth, tie game, and here's the pitch. And whack! What a connection! But it sails foul. Another souvenir for the crowd. Give that pitcher another ball or two. Next pitch, rounder to third. Ken Helmet Caminiti shows off his powerful arm. Man on base now. It could be extra bases as the ball rolls around and left. Wait, we might have a rundown. And what's this? A runner trying to score? He's saved! Great call, ump. From our Olympic Games department, opening ceremonies as the participants gird their loins for battle. In the women's 100-meter dash, we have a dead heat. Literally. In men's gymnastics, the keenest of skillful athletes compete for the gold, where the horse event brings out the best. And hey, the horizontal bar doesn't mean you have to land that way. Time for a quick Olympic picture from the cycling class. Say, cheese. No, not now, not there. Say, dominoes. I got it. I had it. The winter sport of sky jumping, where precision is way so important. Ah, the graceful beauty of a double axel on hold. Hey, that's pretty goofy. And now a quick message regarding safety while driving. And now Now, our calls of the year.
Banky at the horn. Pedal start, determined, light, unwavering. Here's the finish, and it is very close.
Vanderbilt is man to make it look hard. Shot is no good. And that's, oh my Lord!
The shot of the year in girls' high school hoops. Incredible! Nobody converts the 7-10 split except this guy. And for that, you get this beautiful trophy to keep forever. Or maybe you get to keep it for about 5 seconds. Michael Adams on the fast break. And hey, offensive foul, he never had position. The punt of the year, Warner, South Dakota's Chris Roselle, who boots it to himself, minus 15 yards. And we leave you with minor leaguer Rodney McCray, who reminds us what a wacky year this truly has been.
The date was May 1st, 1991. In terms of sports milestones, there was no bigger day of the year. It was also the day that sports fans across America learned the significance of the number 939 and the significance of the number 7. And this wacky and confusing world of sports being what it is, they also learned how the number 7 can loom larger than the number 939. It is the newest math. We call it Nolanometry. On any given sports day, 939 is likely to be a titanic, nigh unapproachable figure. It dwarfs numbers like 4 for 4, or 8 2/3, or 417 in his last 10 games. It would be the biggest number on most days, enough to make a man unquestioned king of the sports world for a healthy spell. But Nolan Ryan has a unique perspective on numbers. Nolanometry is the integration of history and math. Consider the logic. 7 does not equal simply 7. 7 equals 7 times 44 times.
You don't really anticipate them. You don't really give them any thought, prior to. You hope maybe you'll get that opportunity again, but that's all it is.
And when you divide 939 by...
Yes, I believe I deserve more money.
And divide that by...
Today, I'm the greatest of all time. Thank you.
It becomes perfectly clear why, in the eyes of the sports world, 7 is greater than 939. It's not fair to the man of steel. It's not what Nolan had in mind, but it's Nolanometry. It's history. It was Wednesday. That's when the sports world learned the basic postulate of the new man. When a legend grows exponentially toward infinity, 7 is in fact greater than 939.
Got the distance, it is no good! Back to Jordan, down the lane, inside! Oh, no!
It was a time to crown...
91 began. Steve Palermo was known as a stylish and accomplished umpire. That all changed at the All-Star break. Not in the twinkling of an eye, but with the crack of 5 bullets.
He made the show at 27. Steve Palermo was very good. He's grown to be one of the best. This summer, his name moved from the bottom of the box score to bold headlines.
Umpires, by the very nature of their work, keep late hours, and so it was 1:30 in the morning on a Sunday before the All-Star break here in Dallas. Steve Palermo dining here, and a group of others inside responded to a call for help. It would change Steve's life forever.
2 waitresses were assaulted. Palermo and 5 others ran out, subdued one alleged assailant, then a car drew up, 5 shots rang out.
As soon as I got hit by the bullet, I knew something was wrong big time, because I didn't go down like a sack of potatoes. Felt warm, like warm water was being poured over my legs, and I was just melting to the ground. I wanted to roll over, get on my side, because my back hurt. The middle of my back hurt. 1, 2, 3.
Nerves near his spine were damaged. He could only wiggle 3 toes on his right foot. Now, he learns to walk again. Multiple daily sessions of physical therapy.
Straight. Get it straight. Stand tall, too.
In a building full of personal dramas, Steve draws strength from those too young to comprehend their own challenge.
Piece of cake. It's a snap.
Hero? He rejects the label. Anger? He has neither the time nor the luxury.
You say that you're lucky if you can count your friends on one hand. I need to borrow a lot of hands. Count my friends.
They range from a former president to young fans. From one card signed by the game's greatest living legends to ordinary people.
Majestically overwhelming. I was sitting in the bed with Deb, 4:30, 5 o'clock, and we opened up the letters. And I just start to cry. With some of the letters.
An umpire's life is built on instant decisions.
Was there a little bit of the umpire in Steve Palermo when he decided to run out there?
I'd like to think it was a human being in Steve Palermo that ran out that night. And I carried that human being onto the field with me. You know, you want to call somebody a hero, call my mom and dad heroes. Call Vincent and Angela Palermo heroes. Because they're the ones who taught me to live like this and to treat people the way that I tried to treat people.
There is one immediate baseball goal for this October.
I want to walk out to home plate with my crew just to go get the lineup cards. Because I got to get on the field this year to know what I'm rehabbing for next year.
How much does baseball mean to you? Umpiring mean to you?
Not as much as Debbie, but everything else.
He came back to baseball on the last Saturday of the season with his crew.
The Oakland Athletics and the Texas Rangers and all of Major League Baseball welcome umpire Steve Palermo to Arlington Stadium.
Several weeks later, he threw out the first ball at the World Series. His rehab continues as an outpatient. Steve Palermo looks within his soul and vows to walk, and looks you in the eye and says he will umpire again.
Out of the mouths of babes come the darndest things. Still ahead, what do little leaguers think about their heroes?
I don't look up to them anymore when they get in trouble. When I get like suspended or anything, I don't look up to them.
But up next, a rare look inside ESPN's secret tapes for some truly forgettable moments.
Gee whiz. Just center me up there, John. That's okay. That'll do. You know, we do more than 1,000 sports centers a year, and when you do that kind of volume, once in a while things are liable to just get a little screwy. See what I mean? These people are insane here. But you can generally rest assured that it's a technical problem when things go wrong. I mean, very, very seldom is it a problem with us, the announcers. which I think is one big reason why so many different kinds of people like to watch this program.
Oh, let's just look at the damn tape so we can get home and watch SportsCenter. Come on, here we go.
And good evening. Welcome to SportsCenter, along with Bob Lee. I'm Dan Patrick, and no, that's...
You're Bob Lee. I'll be
Got it right. Last night in Chicago, somebody we'll figure this out.
And they did it with the guy who's been doing it all season long. Bobby Cox is getting used to watching Steve Avery do the job, standing by at Three Rivers Stadium. Well, there you go. Now you see, now you don't. The disappearing act.
And a wild one, Cleveland and Seattle. It was 6-2 entering the 9th inning. And that's not going to tell you a whole lot right there.
Bottom of the 6th, 6-0. Jeff Bagwell with his I beg your pardon, 11th home run of the year. That's Jose Uribe. Welcome back from vacation. Giants win it 11-8, and boy, don't I feel good.
I'm Charlie Steiner. I'm going to go clear my throat now.
I'm Chris Fowler. I'll watch him do that. You have a good evening.
You better get a life.
We are set to take you back to 1969. Bill was in his 3rd year of 4th grade. It's Major League Baseball's greatest hits, the Mets and Orioles. I'll take the Mets. Thanks for joining us. I know.
Yeah.
I'm Dan Patrick.
I'm Bill, I guess.
Bill Patrick.
Good to see you. Thanks.
Eddie DeBartolo hopes to have the pens in their entirety sold off by next month. Well, I bet you think that we've told you everything we know about the baseball playoffs.
Wrong again, Anchor Breath. We'll have more. We found a few more facts that will make you say, I did not know that.
We got to go. Your time needs a new battery. I'm Bob Lee.
I'm Bill Patrick. Thanks for stopping by.
You want to help me do this?
Yes,
we have to go to SportsCenter.
Yeah.
So where are we going now?
We're going back.
Hey, man, it's Daddy Dan, your cosmic guide through the 60s. Need to get my Dylan tapes out again, I think.
It was only last week I had to explain to him Woodstock had nothing to do with the Charlie Brown comic strip.
Yeah. When we come back, we'll update the Lakers game against the Kings. I know you're excited, but we got work to do here. I know.
What's big slobbers. It makes a lot of money. Can't get straight lines like this on the Home Shopping Network.
Lamont holds a 69-second lead over now I'm going to try it now. Djamaladin Abdulashapalov, or something like that. Boy, I could never make it on Wheel of Fortune. Can we try that name again?
You avoided that for a full week.
I should have said the
every
Russian.
night writing around that name.
You're just going to change the word save to tug nut from now on.
Don't jump on that tug nut bandwagon right now, Bill.
I know you've got the card on you. Give it up.
Sometimes you feel like a tug nut, and sometimes you don't.
Oh, darn. The show's over. Thanks for tuning in.
What's the first thing you think of about sports in 1991? Still ahead, the most memorable moments of the year. And are today's sports stars still heroes to kids? Some Little Leaguers provide some startling answers when Best of SportsCenter returns.
Athlete is that he'd rather not be a hero or role model. Well, something we learned this year was that those players in the World Series, the Little League World Series, were not too keen on their Major League counterparts for various reasons. As we found out in this story by Steve Cyphers, for those Major Leaguers who'd rather not be heroes and role models, their holiday wishes may have already come true.
For the players who made the trip to Williamsport, the Little League World Series is
The best. It's fun and exciting. I've always dreamed of this.
For many of them, the ultimate stop aboard the dream train is the major leagues. Few will ever reach that final destination, but it has happened before.
And in right field,
Carney Lansford.
Lansford is one of the lucky ones, a member of this generation of pros who makes the eyes of the next generation open wide. But in this age of stepped-up scrutiny and news reports about battles with umpires and fans, brushes with the law, and bouts with substance abuse, the boys know what it is to have a hero fall. There's Darryl Strawberry.
I used to like Darryl Strawberry a lot, but I guess not anymore.
There's Lenny Dykstra.
That was the most stupidest thing he would probably ever did, to get into a car accident because he has such a better life to look forward to.
There's Jose Canseco.
3 speeding tickets in one night. I heard just a big goof off, big head.
There's Rob Dibble.
When he threw that ball and hit that lady, that really made me think of that guy as a jerk.
Heroes fall for other reasons, such as greed, as perceived through the eyes of a 12-year-old.
Some of them, like, because they make a lot of money, they think they can boss everybody around. And some other ones, they just like playing the game and just enjoy it.
Patrick Hanaway doesn't run from autograph seekers, and he doesn't understand why some players actually charge money for their signature.
Well, I think it's ridiculous because the people that are getting paid for it, they're making enough money already. So it's just selfishness because they want more money.
One might sometimes wonder what kind of role models the major leaguers make, but today's little leaguers seem to have a big league awareness.
Well, I like to watch them play and find out more about baseball, but I don't like follow them as to what I want to do in my life.
Though sometimes disenchanted with the players of the game, the boys remain deeply enchanted with the game itself, because to them the attraction is not the slugger, it's the slug, and it's not the catcher, it's the catch. What it is this, the game of baseball. Maybe baseball's image is tarnished from time to time, but it's the images of the kids, of Chris and Ike and Jeremy and John, who give the game its everlasting glow. At the Little League World Series, Steve Cyphers, ESPN.
In my game,
just want to wish you happy holidays.
We hope you've enjoyed the last 2 hours as we've tried to bring you some of the more poignant, the more humorous, and the more controversial moments of the 1991 year in sports. And with this being a leap year in 1992, we will be here 366 days, 7 days a week, informing and entertaining you of the top news stories of the year. But before we look ahead towards 1992, here is one last look back at the more memorable images of the 1991 year in sports. From the entire SportsCenter staff, good night and happy holidays.
Puts it down on the way. It's long enough, and it is no good. He missed it to the right with 4 seconds to play.
Oh my, that's the cherry on the sundae. The Detroit Pistons are leaving the floor with 7.9 left. Back to Jordan, down the lane, inside. Oh, no! Oh! Chasing his hands on in mid-flight. The greatest moment in the history of the franchise. Yeah, let it hang up. Let it go. All the emotion.
He's going. Here comes the throw. He's got it. In the books. The remarkable Ryan has done it again.
El Presidente, El Perfecto.
The United States wins the Ryder Cup.
He's pitched a no-hit, no-run game.
That's way back to right. That is gone.
They threw to Herbeck at first. He kayaks out Gant, and now Gant is arguing with Drew Coble. Pat Corrales is out.
Faith. We love you. And thumbs up, Mike. We love
you. Because of the HIV virus that I have attained, I will have to retire from the Lakers today.
Magic looks well. He's coming back from the wire. The entire throng sees him. He will have power.
sure. Best of SportsCenter has been brought to you by Jordache, fitting the world in style.